I think they did a great job on that because people were talking about it all week, and nobody thought that he would show up and attack CM Punk on SmackDown because he had quit the company. I thought he was going to show up on TNA.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Machine by Sportskeeda. Of course, you can find us on YouTube under Wrestle Binge. I see Teddy already leaning into the camera like he's ready to attack. And, of course, you can find us wherever you download your favorite podcast. And, of course, as I just mentioned a moment ago, we have a very special guest with us each and every week. That is Bill Apter. He's a pro wrestling journalist. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Oh, I was just going into the – I was mouthing you.
Well, then, okay.
yeah, I was having a good time mimicking you were talking so fast. I was just going, so people might think, no, I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
And I was enjoying it too, Bill. I was enjoying every minute of it.
Thank you. Nice to be
It's always 2 on 1. I can't win here.
You're on the time machine. It is a pleasure to be appreciated.
Look, I always have a great time getting with you guys. And by the way, our third and final member of this team, of course, is a WWE Hall of Famer. And that's Teddy Long. And Teddy, it's good to have you on the show, despite the fact you always give me
language.
Well, I just give you what you need.
Well, I don't need that. I got my wife's cooking for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Just threw your wife right under the bus. Wow.
Hold on. You said Teddy Long is the third member. How'd you become number 3?
Well, I don't care. Numbers are numbers.
Yeah, it's like the Freebirds. You just kind of you're all part of the group.
Oh, okay.
Well, they weren't. No. Don't put me in that group there.
Wait. We might have a story here. Hang on. Why wouldn't you want to be a Freebird, Teddy Long?
I didn't say I didn't want to be a Freebird. I just said don't put me in that group right there.
Why not that group?
Well, I just rather be my own self.
Well, you could tell a story about the Freebirds if you want.
I don't know anything about the Freebirds. I can't tell you nothing.
Yeah, Michael and those boys, they that would be hard to travel with them because the stories I hear about some of their travel, oh my God.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Did you drive?
That's why I can't tell none of them stories. I'm going to let go.
Yeah, because everybody's still around right now.
I was with them and Gary Hart on planes, trains, and automobiles. So, yeah.
Wow. So you know the lifestyle of Michael P.S. Hayes and the boys.
But Michael's still around, and Michael was a great guy. He's still in WWE, man. He helped me along the way when I was there and everything. So Michael is just still there, man. He's a great guy.
Teddy, do you have one wild Freebird story you could share?
No, I don't. I worked with them a little bit, but back when they were hot and moving, I was just refereeing and stuff. So I never got a chance to really, hang out with them. But I used to hear stories about Buddy Roberts. But nothing that I can say that I saw myself.
Yeah.
Check out Brain Buster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
Let me bring up somebody else, too. Actually, I'm going to throw it to Bill. Bill, we had a loss today. Just before we went to air, we lost a legendary member of our wrestling family.
Yes, we lost Samoan Sika Anoa'i. He and his brother Afa, of course, were known as the Wild Samoans, and they held the WWE Tag Team title several times. Sika had several sons, and 2 of them became professional.
Bill, you there?
Professional wrestlers. One of them was the late Mac, you just got lost too. The other one was and still is, allegedly the head of the table, Joe Anoa'i, who is Roman Reigns. I first met Afa and Sika up in Toronto in the late 70s, and they weren't even called the Wild Samoans at that point. They were the Islanders, and they were so they did the head movement and they were going, sheesh, 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 sheesh. And they hit their stride when they got in WWF back then. And then they added Captain Lou Albano to the equation. And brother, it was some of the wildest times and believable. Even though they did this crazy shtick, there was no reason to believe that they weren't really untamed animals from Samoa.
I was going to say, Teddy, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember seeing them first as a wrestling fan in the NWA. Maybe it was the Crockett Promotions or somewhere down here in the South. Is that where they started kind of the bigger exposure? Either one.
That's where I first saw them in NWA. And then if you can remember, I think when they first started, they were the Islanders. Bill Apter brought that up earlier before we came on the air. And I had a chance to see them back then, but they were great, man, especially Albert. What a nice man. I had a chance to go down to Pensacola when they all lived in Pensacola when they had the camp down there. At that particular time, the Usos, which are grown men now, they were little bitty babies. So so I had a chance to go down and see them, back then when I first started breaking into business. So he's certainly going to be missed.
Yeah, because I remember them being ringside with Paul E. Dangerously coming out with them. And that was, I legitimately believed when I first saw these guys, these guys are crazy. I mean, they made you believe. That's what was so good about those guys back then.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what they need to do now.
Yes.
Yeah. The Captain Lou Albano brought even more of a sense of craziness and reality to them because the interviews that they weren't permitted to talk. All they would go, sheesh, sheesh. And Albano was so great, and he'd try and talk Samoan. It was great stuff, but more than the business, their families.
Yes,
were and are most important to them.
Let's talk about Drew McIntyre. We had recently mentioned that Drew McIntyre quit WWE, and he said he quit the company, threw the mic down, and left. That lasted a few days, and then he showed back up and beat the ever-living snot out of CM Punk. So he came back. I'm just questioning, what was the purpose of quitting in the first place, Teddy? Why go to the point of going, I quit the company? Aren't there other options?
Well, the other option is, he could have just left and not said anything.
Yeah.
Okay? You could have just walked out of that ring, maybe during the backstage. Once he got backstage, they got a couple of guys back there with microphones trying to, Drew, hold on a minute. He ain't talking to nobody. They follow him all the way out of the door. He gets out of the door. He grabs his bag and whatever. He gets in the car or something, and he's gone. That's all they needed to do right there. Now let's try to figure out what's going on with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. Bill, what were your thoughts?
Well, people said, oh, my God, he quit. I think they did a great job on that because people were talking about it all week, and nobody thought that he would show up and attack CM Punk on SmackDown because he had quit the company. I thought he was going to show up on TNA. I was actually hoping that he quit, make it look real, show up on TNA for a week, and then come back and do the attack by surprise. But it was, to me, had he just walked out, it wouldn't have meant as much to everybody as, the kids at the bus stop the next day going, Drew McIntyre quit last night.
But he did.
But he didn't. You're right. that was the whole thing. He just didn't. It was almost like they had a change of mind all of a sudden.
So if I'm a fan and I just bought that and I'm like, oh my God, man, my favorite guy, Drew McIntyre, quit. Then the next thing I look up, there he is. So what did he just do to me?
Yep.
Yeah, but it's 4 days later. He lied. He's a heel. He lied.
But that kid don't understand that he's a heel. You know what I mean? That's part of it. That kid is taking it serious. He believes it.
Yeah. Now he finds out that this guy lied to everybody just to get back at CM Punk.
And that's good too, because now that with him doing that gives him more heat.
Yeah. Yep.
Look
that
here,
dirty bum Drew McIntyre. Look what he did to Punk, and he lied to us all.
That gives him more heat.
Also, speaking of vile,
Oh.
Judgment Days, Finn Balor and JD McDonough won the tag team titles from Miz and R-Truth after Liv Morgan betrayed R-Truth. She got his attention. He came over to the ropes, and she dropped from the apron, draping his neck across the top rope, and causing them to lose this tag team titles. I was surprised by that, but I was even more surprised that they put the belts on Judgment Day. I didn't think that was coming. I thought that was a nice surprise on Raw. Bill, what were your thoughts on the match itself, and what did you think about the Liv Morgan angle that came with it?
Well, Liv Morgan, first of all, R-Truth, I love his character. He
Yes.
thought that she was Carmella.
Yeah.
He mentioned that a few times. She is she entices people. She's very good in that seduction role, isn't she? Yeah. So her part in that storyline, I think what's going to happen now is that the Judgment Day is going to have a split where it's going to be Liv and Finn really this main part of the angle that they're involved with each other and not really Dominic. I think Dominic is going to be off on the side. I think Rhea is going to come back. I think Damian Priest is going to lose to Seth Rollins, forcing him to leave the Judgment Day, and Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley will be their own separate unit and get over really well and go to war on what's left of the Judgment Day. Did that make sense?
It did.
No.
Teddy,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Teddy, what I got a feeling, and I agree with you, Bill. I think that we're finding out that Liv and Finn are actually having a little thing going on, you know, and I do, and I like that part of the storyline because again, it draws you in, it makes you want to see what happens next. So many times I think we forget that this is basically a male soap opera. That's what people have always kind of described this as, and you got to have those little stories that keep feeding you along, make you want to come back for a little bit more each and every time.
Well,
And
it's
this
also
is one of those
soap
stories.
opera. It's also a female, so it's a soap opera.
Oh yeah, it's a soap opera now.
Any gender could enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
it's-
it's entertaining. Okay,
Very.
it's stuff that you want to sit down and it'll make you laugh, and sometimes you'll get a little hot about some of it, but it's entertaining. And like we were saying, you know, they did take the belts off R-Truth and Miz, but that didn't hurt them whatsoever.
No.
There are two guys right there that can work their butts off, okay? And the people are still going to like them whether they're champions or not. So
That's
didn't
correct.
hurt them at all.